dramatic entry. Dun, dun, dun. Welcome to church today, everybody. How are you? Good, good, good. Now, I would not call myself a fisherman, but I am someone who loves to fish. Anybody relate to that? I feel like if you're going to call yourself a fisherman, you have to actually be someone who makes time to go fishing, right? I am not in a season of my life where I have what I would consider to be fishing time, okay? So I'm not going to go full fisherman at this season, but I do have plans to one day be a full-blown fisherman, all right? So when we do make a pilgrimage back to my homeland of Louisiana, or better known as my home swamp, all right? Like my home swamp of Louisiana, we do go there, and we do always make it an effort to get on the water and try and get some fish in the box. Now, in Louisiana, there is a law that requires fisher people to under the age of 16, that when the boat is in motion, they have to wear a life jacket. It is a law, okay? And so when we go fishing with the cuties, look how cute. Oh, my gosh. I didn't even realize how cute he was. When you go fishing with the cuties, if a cutie hits the water, you want to make sure the cutie's going to float, all right? That's the idea, okay? So the younger kids, they have to wear a life jacket while they are on the boat and while the boat is moving. Now, if you are older than 16 years old, the state of Louisiana really does not care whether you live or die, to be honest with you. It is probably smarter to wear a life jacket over the age of 16, but it's not a law, right? So whether you wear one or don't, Louisiana is okay with that. A lot of guys don't wear it because, we don't want the other fishermen on the boat to think that we are less of a fisherman or smart for that matter. So, right, like you don't have to. But here is the law that is cool, not cool, but it is a law. On the boat, you must have an actual life jacket for every physical body that is on board that boat. It does not matter how deeply under the belly of the boat that life jacket is stowed away. It does not matter that if you ever actually needed that life jacket, there's no way in the world you'd ever be able to get to it, right? But as long as it's on the boat, you are within the bounds of the law and you are good to go. Now we keep those life jackets on the boat for what you call everybody say it with me, the just in case. A life jacket's one of those things you never, ever want to have until you absolutely need to have it. Can I have a better amen on Sunday morning, right? A life jacket's one of those things, it's like man, God, they're really annoying, they uncomfortable, they make me feel all, whatever, until you're adrift at sea, and you're like, thank God for this uncomfortable life jacket, Like when you're on a plane and they show you that flotation thing, you're like, God, I would hate to have to wear that. Unless you're floating in the ocean, then you're grateful that this thing is basically strangling you while you try to live adrift at sea. You guys know what I'm talking about. Now, in smaller boats, they require life jackets, but as the boats get bigger, so do the rescue apparatuses. Which one is it? What's the plural? Apparati. We're going to go apparatuses. The bigger the flotation apparata get, because, bigger boats require bigger buoys. This is the lifesaver. This is the ring. And today, as I introduce to you our new sermon series, The Rescue, this is the focus of the rescue. All right? The main thought that I have for you today as we talk about the rescue is this. It's all about this. It's the ring is the thing. Right? Look at your neighbor and say, the ring is the thing. The ring is the thing. And today we are on a rescue mission. Now, just to be clear, who am I talking about when I talk about the rescue? I'm talking not to those in need of a rescue, but to those who have been rescued. Who has been rescued? Well, if you have encountered the love and grace and mercy of Jesus Christ, you've said yes to that love, grace, and mercy, and you have received Him as your Lord and as your Savior, then guess what? You have been rescued. Okay, I was hoping there would be a little more enthusiasm behind that statement, but maybe we need a little more time at the 11:30 service to wake up. Yes, I am heaping guilt and shame upon you all right now, right? Let's wake up, everybody. This sermon series is targeting the rescued. This sermon series is coming for the Christians. If you would say today that you are not 100% sure on where you stand with this whole Jesus thing, you have not made your peace with him, you have not received him as your Lord or accepted him as your Savior, listen, this sermon series is not targeting you. Everything else that we do as a church is targeting you. So, maybe today you can have a little bit of a break for the next, 24 minutes or so, but you're not off the hook entirely. But today we're targeting the Christians. Today, Christians are in the crosshairs. Because, my friend, if you have in fact been rescued by the grace of Jesus, by the ring here, the ring is the thing, then that means that you are now a rescuer. And what I'm afraid has happened in the culture of Christianity in 2023 is that Christians who have been rescued have gotten very confident and very comfortable in their personal faith in Jesus. And it's mainly stayed their faith, and they've not been very willing to share it with anyone else. So we talk about the ring being the thing. So what is the ring? If the ring is a thing, what is the ring? A better question to ask is, who is the ring? Paul said this to the church in Galatia in chapter 1, verse 3 through 4. He says, May God the Father of our Lord Jesus Christ give you grace and peace. He says, Jesus gave his life for our sins, just as God our Father planned it, in order to what? Let's say it together. In order to rescue us. In order to rescue us from this evil world in which we live. Paul also said to the church in Colossae, it says, For he has rescued us from the kingdom of darkness and transformed us into the kingdom of his dear Son. So who is Paul implying is the rescue? Who is Paul implying is the ring? It's Jesus. Good job. Just in case you're wondering, 99% of the time, if I ever wait for an answer from you, the answer is Jesus. It's an easy quiz. You'll pass every time. So who is Paul saying that the ring is? It is Jesus. Good job. So if the ring is the thing and Jesus is the ring, what is our role in this? Well, why is Jesus the ring? That's an important place to start. Well, Jesus is the ring because Jesus is eternal. There is no beginning and there is no end, just like this circle here. Find me the starting point of this circle, and then you'd be like a math wizard of some sort, right? Because there is no beginning, there is no end. Jesus is eternal, just like the ring is. It doesn't matter which way you hold this, but there is a top and there is a bottom. Now, Jesus is the ring, and the ring is the thing because Jesus came from the top to the bottom so that he could bring us from the bottom to the top. That's how it works. The ring is the thing, and Jesus is the ring. So what does that do? What role does he play? Well, he is the ring, and so when there is a rescue... Sorry, Simone. Was that scary? I didn't mean to scare you. You throw it out there, right? And he's out there, and he's Jesus, and Jesus is out there doing his thing. When we are floundering in an ocean of our sin, lost adrift, in need, desperate need of a rescue, Jesus is what we reach for. Jesus is what we cling to, because Jesus is the ring, and the ring is the thing. But listen to me. The hope is in the rope. Are you with me? You want to know what that is without a rope tied to it? That is nothing more than a floaty. You see what I'm saying? Now, granted, if I'm floating at sea, I would much rather be holding on to something than nothing, right? But if I had my pick, I'd much rather be holding on to something that's tethered to something else. Jesus is the ring is the thing, but the hope is in the rope. So what puts the hope in the rope? It's not the rope itself, but it's what the rope is tethered to. And what's the rope tethered to? It's tethered to the church. It's not tied to a boat, it's tied to a bride. That's what Jesus calls the church that you and I are a part of today, the bride of Christ. I don't speak single person language. I don't know if I could ever really say that I was single. Chris and I got married when we were 20. I feel like that. I think that's illegal in Massachusetts. I'm not entirely sure. So I don't really know the lingo, but I do know that Jesus did not describe the church as his girlfriend or this person he had coffee with recently, and it was interesting, right? Like, he calls it the most intimate relational picture that you and I can comprehend as humans. He says, that church is my bride. I gave my life for her. She and I are tied together. That's why there is hope in this rope. Okay? 20 years ago, God, I'm so elderly, my Jesus. 20 years ago, when Crystal and I were falling in love and getting married, and all of our life and all of our story was beginning as a story together, we looked at what this rope was tethered to, and we gave our life to it. Yeah. Right? And not for some like magical sort of feel-good moment. We gave our life to it because we knew that we wanted to be people who brought hope. Yeah. And that there's only one place where true hope can come from. And it's found in the local church, man. She was going to be a marriage counselor. She was in graduate school to be a marriage counselor. I was going to be a businessman. And we both just kind of said, like, all right, but we'd rather just commit our lives to this. And you know the irony is that we do so much marriage counseling, and we, like, have businesses too. So it's like, what did I give up? You know what I mean? Yeah. Why? But why would someone give themselves in such a way to that? Because there's hope in the rope. Are you with me? So Jesus is the ring, and the ring is the thing. There's hope in the rope is the hope. And just when you thought there's certainly no way he could come up with any more rhymes to preach in this sermon, I would just like to quote Coach Lee Corso from College Game Day, not so fast. Because the ring is the thing, the rope is the hope. And listen to me, you and I, we've got to pull so that the house will be full. You're welcome. You're welcome. Write that down, put that in your pocket, and remember the rhymes. Come on, man, remember the rhymes. The question that we really have to answer today is, how is your pull? Right? The information that we're looking for today is are you a part of the pulling back in, or are you stuck in a current that is pulling you back out? How's your pull? Because see, for Christians, one of the most amazing things that as a follower of Jesus, one of the most amazing things that I get to say as a follower of Jesus is that once I was lost, but now I am found. F-O-U-N-D. In those 5 letters, listen, that's the difference between who I was and who I am now becoming. F-O-U-N-D. It's one of the most amazing things that you get to say as a follower of Jesus. But you know what one of the saddest things that is rarely said of followers of Jesus, but is mostly true of followers of Jesus? It's once you were found, once you were lost, but now you were found, and then you got really comfortable as a Christian, and you gave up on the rescue. We just finished a sermon series at StoryHeights that a lot of people said made them very uncomfortable. I hope this one takes that discomfort to an entirely different level for you. I hope it shakes you to your very core, Christian. And I hope it spotlights a lot of areas in your life that Jesus is calling you to turn the lights on in. Because those who have been radically rescued are called to radically rescue. That's the way that it works. And we've gotten so comfortable in our Christianity that we've forgotten what it means. We've forgotten what it felt like when we were the ones in need of the rescue. When we were the ones that were floundering and barely hanging on, and that when we reached out and we took hold of the ring, because the ring is the thing and Jesus is the ring, and we reached out and we grabbed a hold of Jesus, and our whole life turned upside down. And we forgot what it felt like when we were holding on to Jesus, and that he connected us to his church, and he showed us the way to have hope in this life that is otherwise hopeless. We've forgotten what it means to be rescued. And we've forgotten what it means to be called as a rescuer. Because if you have been rescued, listen to me, Christian, you are a rescuer. You are plan A. There is not a plan B. You understand what I'm saying to you? If you have been rescued, you're a rescuer. And I feel like what the Spirit of God is trying to say to us today is, Christian, it's time to get your rescue on. You know, you ever been on a big boat that has these big floaties on it? Or not floaties. We got to be serious about them. What are they called? Life rings. Flotation apparati. You ever been on a boat with one of these big old rings on it? You know, like this ring hanging on the wall of those big old boats is full of potential. But it is only, listen to me, it is only decoration until it gets wet. Right? Looks good. It's got a real nautical sort of vibe to it. You feel better about yourself knowing that it's there. But until it's actually in the water, what's it doing? It's just decoration. It's just hanging out. We're called to the rescue, church. I'm afraid we're not just like, I said that incorrectly. We're not like called to it. We are it. We are the plan. And we got to get that in our heads, okay? Because the ring is the thing. Amen? The ring is the thing. So then how do you do it? How do you become a rescuer? Well, I think if you're going to become a rescuer, that was graceful. I think you got to become what I call a dual threat follower of Jesus. Everybody say dual threat. Mr. Dennis, back when they were recruiting me to play Division I basketball at the University of North Carolina at a high school, why did y'all laugh so quickly? You didn't even let me get through the name of the university that I made up. Laughing at me. But back when they were recruiting me to play basketball, you could put in any sport and it's still funny, you know what I mean? Tennis. Yeah, no, they didn't want you to play tennis either. But when someone's good enough and they get recruited to play college ball somewhere, a lot of times it's because they're a dual threat athlete. Have you all ever heard that before? Oh, he's a dual threat. She's a dual threat. It means that she's as good on offense as she is on defense, right? Like he can stop the sports ball game, right? It's just as much as he can make the sports ball do sports ball things, right? Like it's a dual threat. I think we got to be dual threat followers of Jesus, and that we've got to be as focused on evangelism as we are on winning souls. Okay? Evangelism is important. Evangelism is great. Evangelism will go a long way, and there's a lot of work to do in the work of evangelism. But evangelism is not the finish line of our faith in Jesus. We got to actually win souls to His kingdom. That's what Paul said to the church in Colossae, isn't it? That we transferred them from the kingdom of darkness into the kingdom of His Son. That is a winning of a soul, a life connected to the story of God, so that God can take their stories to new heights. So today I want to help you become a dual threat follower of Jesus Christ. And I know it seems a little backwards, but there are 3 ways that you can become a dual threat. See what that means? So it's a little confusing, but just stay with me on this. The first 2, actually the first one, if you're going to be a dual threat follower of Jesus, is number 1, you have to be committed to serve. Committed to serve. You got to be committed to serve. You have to understand that it is possible to consume while you contribute. It is possible to contribute while you consume, okay? There are seasons in life where you may be coming from a lower place, maybe coming out of a dark season, coming out of a darker place, and you need a season of rest to just consume and let God breathe a fresh breath of His Spirit into your life. I totally get it. It happens to me. It happens to all of us. If you need it, take it. But you can't live there. You can't live there and be a dual threat follower of Jesus. It's contributing while consuming. You have to be committed to the serve. A lot of you do know this, but a lot of you might not realize that the heaviness of the lift involved in creating this environment every single Sunday for those who have not been rescued yet to come in and have an opportunity to reach up and take hold of the lifesaver, of the ring. Why? Because the ring is the thing. But the lift, in order to create this environment, oh my gosh, it will blow your mind. People think that church, we only open one day a week. Please. The lift that it takes to create a safe, fun, Jesus-filled environment right through that courtyard right there so that your kids and my kids can go and have an opportunity to connect their story to God's story so that God can start taking their story to new heights, even from little cutie stages, right? The lift involved in making that possible is heavy. It's huge. If you're going to be a dual threat follower of Jesus, listen to me, you have to make a commitment to that serve. We have a worship team. Did y'all notice there were people up here earlier playing instruments and singing songs and like doing their thing? They did a great job, didn't they? I was feeling it. When they were rehearsing this morning, I was like, oh, it's about to be a good day. Britton's got his sweater vest on. Brandy and Yvette were just leaving it all on the field. Britton, how long did it take you to memorize the secret handshake to become a part of the StoryHeights worship team? Was it complicated or?
I think it took 1 ounce.
Oh, there's not a secret code. Oh, okay. So you're saying you can just serve. Got it. I'm joking, but seriously, I'm not. You don't even have to sing. Like, I will turn your microphone off. If you can match the energy of the two 34-year-old ladies that were up here earlier today, we're just sticking with 34, maybe 32. We're going 32 this service. The two 32-year-old ladies that were up here, if you can match, I don't think you can beat it, but if you can match their energy and can't sing, you're hired. I'll turn your mic off and let's go, bring the heat. Let's get it. You're on the team. Y'all know how to smile? Anybody know how to smile? Check, right? You all just auditioned for the Connect team, and you won. Kids team's a little harder, because you got to pass a background check, because not just anybody gets to work with them kids. We got some procedures in place. Because them little precious lambs, they're precious. We won't take care of them precious lambs. You know does anybody have an iPhone? Who's got an iPhone? Have you ever made or received a phone call on your iPhone? Listen, you're qualified to serve the house of the Lord. There's a group of the wizards of StoryHeights, right behind that wall right there, that are pushing buttons and clicking things and making all this magic happen. Listen, you can do it. Did y'all notice today? This is the third service, so we got some time. We all ain't got nowhere to be. You ate brunch before you came, so you're not even going to be hungry, all right? Y'all just stay with me. Did y'all notice today when we were in worship that the lyrics were exactly there at the exact right time? Did y'all notice that? It's always been my thing. I've been around church for a long time, and like it always kind of like I don't know the words to the songs. You're like, well, you do this every day. I don't know them. Hey, and you know what's hilarious? The worship leaders don't know them either. It's so funny. My whole life. Like but you can't hear it. You know what I'm saying? Because they don't know them either. I'm just telling y'all all the secrets this morning, okay? But I don't know them for sure. And so we'll sing a line, and then it'll get to the point where it's like the old line is still up there, but the new line hasn't come on. And I'm like, it's so painful and it's so real. But listen, they figured it out, guys. They cracked the Da Vinci Code. And I knew the words today. It was magical. It was magical. Hunter, I know you can hear me. You can't see me, sister, but you nailed it. You nailed it. You know what she did? She pushed the buttons on a keyboard. And I'm not diminishing it. Oh my gosh. You ask Tyler Berry. I fell to my knees. I had tears in my eyes during rehearsals this morning. I was like, it's so beautiful. It's so beautiful. You know why? Because there's a group of people that committed to serve, to make sure there was an opportunity for one person to come into this space today in as distraction-free of an environment as we could possibly create so that they could have the opportunity to reach out and take hold of the ring. Because the ring is the thing. Because Jesus is our ring. Amen? Dual threats, they're committed to serving. They're also committed to sowing. Not like sew a needle pulling thread, not like Sound of Music sewing, but like S-O-W-ing, sowing. And yes, I'm talking about finances, okay? Everybody relax. I know Allie already talked about it once. We're not going into a whole deal about it, but a fully devoted follower of Jesus Christ commits his or her hands and commits his or her heart. That's the way that it works. The money that you give, the money that you sow, it is tied to your heart. Out of the heart, it says, out of the giving and sowing is connected to your heart. That's where generosity comes from. And so, yes, Jesus commanded us in Matthew 28 to go into all the world, baptize, make disciples of all nations, baptizing them in the name of the Father, Son, and the Holy Spirit, and teaching them to obey my commands. Did I get that right, Taiwo? Yeah, that's the Great Commission, Matthew 28. And that's beautiful, and that's powerful, and that's for all of us. But do you understand the price tag that comes with that commission? I don't think you do. Do you understand the price tag that comes with that commission in Massachusetts? Bro, I see it every Monday. It's legit. Dual threat Christians, they get the importance of serving. Dual threat Christians, they get the importance of sowing. That's the evangelistic side of this. But what about the winning souls side? What does it take? What does it take to become this dual threat follower of Jesus? Well, you got to be committed to serve. You got to be committed to sow. And then the third thing is you got to be committed to share. You got to be committed to share. What is share? I'm talking about sharing your story. I'm talking about taking the ring that saved you, and being available to share it with somebody else. Listen to me. Church attendance is great. Church attendance is important. Church attendance is actually biblically mandated. We're not going to really start dropping the Bible card here. We've already gone far enough, but it's actually in there. So, if you got an issue with that, take it up with management. I'm just in sales. Church attendance is great. It's important, right? Serving is great, it's important. Sowing is great, it's important. But please do not believe the lie that showing up to church on a Sunday with a smile, dropping a check in the bucket that is passed around, and then leaving and that being it, that makes you a fully devoted follower of Jesus Christ. It's not it. You got to share your story. You got to tell your story. What's so special about my story? Are you kidding me? Once you were lost, and then you were found. That's what's so special about your story. Once you were floating at sea without a glimmer of hope, and it was all but lost. And then one day, what happened? Someone threw you the lifesaver. Someone saw you, and they threw you the lifesaver. They might have shared their story. They might have told. It doesn't matter how it happened, but once you were lost, and then you were rescued. That's why your story matters. You got to be committed to serving. You got to be committed to sowing, and you've got to be committed to sharing. But you know what? Out of the three, that's the one that's the hardest. And you want to know why I think it's the hardest? It's because I think as Christians, we've figured out how to carry this ring around like it's some sort of accessory. Luke, will you hand me that again? I shouldn't have thrown it without the rope that time. That's on me. You did a great job with that, Luke. Thank you. God, just talented. There's talented men and women. Yeah, get your serve on, Luke. Nice. But you know what's happened as Christians is that we've started carrying this ring around like an accessory. Like fashion, we know fashion. Me and Joe talk about fashion all the time. Joe, you're a fashion guy. We do fashionable things. There's a lady somewhere in this country named Carla, and every month she sends me a bag of clothes and she tells me what to wear. And then if Crystal confirms what Carla says, I wear it. Because I know fashion. Apparently, buttoning your top button makes you look younger, and ankles are in. Taiwo, you can take that home with you, bro. Helping you out. That's about as far as it goes for me for fashion. But here's what Carla has taught me. Carla taught me that you got to have a statement piece. This is a statement piece shirt, in case you're wondering. I wore it at Easter. If anybody is curious, this is a repeat statement. I've already made this statement, but here I am saying it again. Apparently my statement is get you some flowers. I think a lot of us carry Jesus around like a statement piece. In that we hope the more that we carry him around, proudly carry him around, boldly carry him around, out front, in public, no questions about it, but that the hope is that if we can carry Jesus around as our statement piece accessory, that he will do the speaking for us. Now, to be quite honest, Jesus doesn't need our help, right? Jesus is enough. But check this out. In his grace, he put his story in your hands. And the question is, what are you going to do with it? Are you going to throw it out there? Because the ring is the thing and hope is the rope and pull so the house will be full? Or are you going to continue to carry him like an accessory piece on the off chance that somehow you wander into uncharted waters and need another rescue for yourself one day? And listen to me, I love you, but deep down in my heart of hearts, I hope that hurt a little bit. I mean, I really, really do. Because we talk a lot about expansion at StoryHeights Church and the future and the vision for where God's taking us next. We celebrate all that God has done, but we look forward to what God is going to do next. But I got to be honest with you, none of that is going to happen if we only carry him around like an accessory, like a statement piece for this faith that we so boldly profess, but that we so silently carry around. We have not begun to see the Spirit of God move in this church, move in this house, move in your hearts and my hearts and the hearts of the men and women that we do our life with. We have not yet begun to see the Spirit of God move in the way that he can, because we have not yet begun our part of the rescue. So how's your pull? How's your rescue? There's a story in the gospel. It's in Mark. I think it's in Luke too. I should probably know, but it's been a long day. But it's a story about these friends. Maybe you've heard this story before. Mark chapter 2. There's these 4 friends that hear Jesus is in town. This is a town called Capernaum. And they have a buddy who is paralyzed. He can't move. And they take this buddy to this house that Jesus is teaching and preaching at. And the house is so full of people because guess what? People like being around Jesus. People who need to be rescued love the opportunity of being rescued, you know? It's been true ever since Jesus was Jesus. And so the house is so full, these friends take their buddy on the mat up to the roof of someone else's house, and they cut a hole in this other person's roof. And they lowered their friend down at the feet of Jesus, and Jesus sees their friend, and it says that he sees their faith, the friends peeking in over the hole in the roof, sees their faith and tells the man on the mat, your sins are forgiven. He stands up and he walks. He carries his mat and he goes home. It's a beautiful story. It's a powerful story. I love the picture of friendship that's there. I love the picture of brotherhood that's there. I mean, you got to have a really special friendship to take a friend to someone else's home and destroy private property for that friend. Like I think in the law field, that's like a 21-9er or something, right? Like, nah, we got a 21-9er over here and private property. Send back up, you know, like these dudes destroy someone else's house because they know their friend needs to be in front of Jesus. I think that's beautiful. I love that. But as I hear that story, I read that story, my mental VCR cannot help but rewind like back to the beginning of that story. It's not recorded in Scripture, and so this only comes from here, which makes it outside of the Bible. So everybody just relax, but let's just imagine for a second in the Tyler International version, all right? Let's just go there today for just a second. Like, what was it like when those 4 guys got together and they're like, dude, Jesus is in town. He's like right over there. What if Jesus could help Jerry? Always in my brain, the guy on the mat, his name is Jerry. I don't know why. It's not in the Bible, but his name is for sure Jerry, okay? Like what if Jesus could help Jerry out? And we got to get Jerry over to Jesus. How are we going to get Jerry? Somebody's got the cart already out. Like, we can't, what are we going to do? Well, we got to carry him. We got to get him there. And so these 4 friends show up at Jerry's house. Jerry doesn't know they're coming. He's just been literally laying there. And they're like, Jerry, we're going over where Jesus is. No, we're not. I can't go. What else you got to do, Jerry? Nothing? Okay, good. We're going. And all these 4 guys, they bend over and they pick up their corner of Jerry's mat. They take him to the house that Jesus is. They can't get in, but they're not going to be stopped at the door. They climb up on the roof. They destroy private property. They lower Jerry down in front of Jesus, and Jesus does Jesus things. He rescues their friend Jerry. But as I mentally rewind this story, I cannot help but ask myself this question. What if one of those guys hadn't showed up that day to carry his corner? What if he had had a long day at work and he had already gotten home and changed into his comfy sandals? What if he didn't feel like, Jerry's house is on the complete opposite side of town. My donkey is tired. I'm going to have to walk. Walk? Are you serious? What if 3 guys showed up that day? And you hope like crazy that one of those dudes is ripped because he is carrying the entire bottom half by himself. You know what I'm talking about? Thank God we don't have to speculate an answer to that question. Why? Because it says that 4 men showed up that day to carry the corner of one man's mat. 4 men, it says, showed up that day, prepared for the rescue. And they were committed to serve their friend because their friend had a need that he couldn't meet himself, a need that they couldn't meet themselves, a need that only Jesus could meet. And so they were committed to serve their friend, and they carried him to where Jesus was. They were committed to sewing for that friend. Why? Because somebody's got to pay to fix that person's roof. You break it, you buy it. You cut a hole in my roof, you better get somebody over here to fix the hole that you cut. But they were committed to sharing. And it's the sharing, listen to me, of their life, the sharing of their story with Jerry's story. Now, they didn't tell it to him, but they lived it with him. And it was the sharing of their story that led to Jerry's forgiveness of his sin and his ultimate healing that day. Whose corner has God called you to carry? Who in your world doesn't even realize it yet, but is desperate to hear your story and the difference that Jesus has made in your life? The ring is the thing. Jesus is the ring. The rope is the hope because it's connected to the church. But it's up to us for the pull to see to it that the house is full. Amen? I got some homework for you today. I left my homework down there. Thanks, Allie. You should have gotten one of these on your way in today. This is a very, very sophisticated yellow piece of printer paper. And it says, share your story. You open it up like this. It gives you some instructions. There's a little, what do they call those? QR code. What I want you to do, this is a recommendatory homework assignment. Tara, recommendatory is a word that I made up, which means I can't make you do anything, but if I could, this would be the thing that I made sure everybody did. Recommendatory. I want you to take this home and I want you to write your story out. If you have been rescued, and you know what that means, you have been saved by the grace of God. I want you to take this home and I want you to write your story. Why? Because if you don't know your story, how are you ever going to tell your story? I want you to write it down. I want you to think about the situation that you were in when you were floating adrift at sea, lost and with no sign of hope. I want you to think back to where you were in that moment, and I want you to recount the moment that you saw the lifesaver floating your way and that you reached out and you took a hold of it. I want you to remember the people who were there pulling that rope so that you had a place in the house of God, so that you could know the hope that is only found through Jesus, through his bride, because the local church is the hope of the world. I want you to think about those things. I want you to write them down. I want you to write down the way that your life is different now that you have found the hope of Jesus Christ, that you have been rescued. I want you to write it down. I want you to process it. I want you to scan this QR code and upload it to Dropbox for us so that we can share your story with you, or bring it back next week, because this is a graded homework assignment, StoryHeights Church. We will be checking attendance. That's not true, but if I could, I would. It's that important to me. It should be that important to you. So if you're going to tell your story or share your story, you got to know your story. And the only way to know it is to write it down. And then after you do that, here's what we're going to do today too. I keep these in my pocket now because I'm 40. And old guys are supposed to keep candy in their pockets. Isn't that how it goes? That's the way it was in my church when I was a kid. Did y'all not go to that church? Y'all know Uncle Bob? He's everybody's uncle, but he's nobody's uncle. He's always got candies in his pocket. Y'all don't remember that guy? Everybody say, God bless? Uncle Bob. I guess I'm him. I was hoping it might be somebody else, but apparently I'm him now. But we're going to give you one of these lifesavers, a lifesaver. I want you to take it home. It's going to be the hardest thing you ever had to do, but you can't eat it, okay? And no stopping at CVS on your way home and getting a whole bag of them. It doesn't count, all right? It doesn't count. But I want you to take this one home. I don't want you taking two home. I want you taking one home. And what I want you to do is I want you to take this lifesaver home, and I want you to put a name on it. Not like where it becomes your pet lifesaver, but like where you put the name on it of someone in your story that you know needs rescue. Like, well, how do I know? That makes me all judgy. No, it doesn't. You know. You know. Stop trying to talk yourself out of it, because you know. And I want you to put their name on it, and I want you to start praying for that person. And as you write your story, I want you to practice sharing your story with the name that's attached to this lifesaver. And here's the catch. I don't want you to eat it until that person is rescued. Okay? These things are hard to resist, too. I eat like 42 of them every Sunday. By the time this third service is over, I am riding a caffeine and lifesaver mint high. I'm like, whoa, let's do it. Eat all the rest of them you want. Don't eat this one. Okay? Not until that person's rescued. The whole rest of this series, we're going to help you guys understand the value and the power of this story. We're going to teach you how to share it, why it's important, all of that. But it all comes back to the story first. You got to know it. You got to write it. You got to be ready to share it. Why? Because the ring is the thing. And there's people all around you that need the hope that's in Jesus. Amen?
Hey, we're so glad that you stuck around for the entire message. You know, everything we do at StoryHeights Church is done with the hope that we connect your story to God's story, because we believe that God can and will take your story to new heights.
So while you may not be with us in person, we still want to give you the opportunity to respond to the call of Jesus. Maybe you're watching right now and you'd say, you know what? And I've been trying to do my life my own way. And honestly, it's just not working. And listen, we've all been there before. If you can say, I believe that Jesus died for me because he loves me, and that you truly want to live in the fullness of what he has in store for you, I would encourage you to pray this prayer with me. Say, Jesus, say thank you for your cross, for your love, for your grace and your forgiveness. Say, I was going my way, but now I choose to go your way. I want to make you my Lord and Savior. Forgive my sin and set me on a new path. Amen.
That's huge. That's such a big deal. You know, giving your life to Jesus is the first big step in a faith journey that's going to last the rest of your life on this earth.
Yeah.
So don't let it go unnoticed. We'd love for you to fill out our digital connect card at the link below, because although you aren't with us in person, we want to get you connected.
Yeah.
If you don't live in our area and don't belong to a local church, we'd love to connect you with a great Jesus and Bible teaching one.
And if you are in the area, we invite you to come in person, because we believe church is essential to your spiritual growth. And honestly, it's just one big party every Sunday. So go ahead and click that connect card, and a member of our team will be in touch. And that's really all we have for you now. And we hope to wait and see how God is moving in your life.
So remember, keep letting God take your story to new heights. He's got such great things for you.
It's the truth.